Hello competitors, my name is Jose Rodriguez, and I'm here to give you some tips on your virtual competitive events. So competing virtually is very different compared to competing in person, which is very obvious, is that you don't have that same feeling as you are going towards a new city, going towards a new place that you've never been before, and meeting new people along the way. It may not be the same atmosphere into doing so, but it is very important into knowing how to compete virtually. It may be surprising, but many people don't know how to compete virtually or they don't know what to do. So this video will be a great resource into how to compete virtually, especially as we are going throughout this year, which is 2020 and 2021, where we have the COVID-19 pandemic, and this puts a barrier into meeting in person, or especially in this case, competing in person. So like as usual, there can be, this not only applies to FBLA or DECA, but this applies to various CTSOs or even other competitions where you have to compete, especially virtually. So usually usually not a lot changes, but it's great to know some tips into competing. So my first tip is to study. So like any test, study before an exam is very helpful. Or if it's a role play or performance, practice. So it's important to practice or study before you actually go there, because you might be feeling confident that you know everything, but once you get there, you just are paralyzed, and we don't want you to go through that. So it's important to study and go over vocabulary, go over some concepts for your event. Or if it's a performance, make sure to go over your event. Make sure that you are doing what's supposed to do. If it's helpful, get a rubric out and go and grade yourself, or have someone else to do it for you. Have someone else to grade you as if they were the judge. So it is very helpful to study and to practice, because not everything goes out into plan, and it is very helpful to do so. So besides that, my second tip is dressing for success. So dress for success. So as you might know, it is required to be in this uniform or that. For example, FBLA or DECA, you're required to be in business attire or be in your blazer and in your official uniform to compete. Or you may have points taken off for not doing that, or even disqualified. And we don't want you to do that. And especially in virtual, where you might think that since we're virtual, it's not required, which is the biggest myth. It's the biggest myth. What is true is that even though we're virtual, it doesn't mean that you just don't come in. It doesn't mean that you come in pajamas and say, I'm here. No, that is not professional, especially if you're in the real world. And that is what you are being prepared. Trying to prepare for the real world. So of course it makes sense because of that. So go check the rules on what you need to wear for your competition, especially when you having your role play either recorded or live in front of a judge. My third tip is to check if everything is running well. If everything is running well, your internet or your computer. The last thing you want is for having a disaster. Your Wi-Fi going down, or your computer shutting down, or you forget to charge your computer. So check you do that you have everything ready, because it will affect you a lot, honestly. So my fourth tip is to be confident. So while you are competing in there, make sure that you feel confident in yourself, confident that you can do this, So even though it's a different platform, make sure that you have the confidence in that room, even if it's a virtual room. My sixth tip is to follow directions and to be nice, not only to your judges or people who are in there, but people around you. If you have anybody in there, make sure to be respectful. That's the important part. You don't want to be rude in there, so try to do that. My other tip is to, besides having good conduct in there, even though we're not there and they can't do anything, they can't just like hop in into your computer screen and drag you. It's important to have good conduct. But my other tip is to be patient. Like as we can experience, usually results come out like either in the same day or the next day. But virtual events tend to be longer, the conferences, and so that means results come in longer. So be patient. So try to be patient while you're waiting for your results. So you may be anxious, you may feel nervous on what's going on, but have patience. And I will promise you that everything will go well. And another tip that I almost forgot is to tell you that be there on time. I don't know if I addressed that already, but make sure that you are there on time. Because if you're not there on time, what can I say? That's not going to go very well. So be there on time, even though if we're not there virtual. And besides all them tips, you should be going well. So I'll give you those tips again. So number 1, study or be prepared. 2, dress for success. 3, check if everything is running well. 4, be there on time. 5, make sure that you are following directions and you are polite. 6, be patient. Basically, be patient. This is a different experience for all of us, and not all of us reacts to it the same. So as we are trying to transition back to normality, it is important to be aware on what's going on. It's important to acknowledge that it's different, and it may take longer or maybe even faster, depending on the situation. So basically, I wish you the best of luck in your competitions.